Joseph Murphy worked for decades that financial prosperity is not determined by chance, but the result of the dominant vibration that each person creates in their being. When Murphy researched families that struggled against chronic financial difficulties, he noticed an intriguing yet unsettling pattern. These families bore, without recognizing it, an energetic field of economic restriction that resurfaced through successive generations, like a corrupted file playing permanently the same melody of poverty. Murphy termed this process vibrational heritage. He verified that each family possesses a specific emotional frequency linked to finances, a resonance that is transmitted through conduct, unspoken convictions and reactions of the heart regarding economic adversities. This inherited vibration acts like a hidden code, defining not simply what total a person can amass, but equally their fundamental relationship with prosperity. Murphy realized that a large part of the economic obstacles that he noticed were not born from incompetence or negative chance, but merely in the received pattern that every being absorbs since birth. This epiphany completely changed the way by which Murphy viewed financial change. Preferring not to transmit uniquely profit strategies or resource allocation approaches, Murphy dedicated himself to something essential: transforming the vibrational energy concerning money that someone absorbed from their lineage. Murphy described remarkable examples of beings who succeeded to overcome this inherited vibration using specific techniques of psychological remodeling. One of these experiences involved a merchant named Roberto, whose family heritage endured a recurrent pattern of financial failure that lasted through generations. His male ancestor had lost all his fortune in a disastrous speculation. His progenitor had lived through bankrupt businesses, and Roberto, albeit working obsessively, found himself reproducing this same destructive cycle. Whenever he managed to accumulate an expressive sum of wealth, a situation appeared without apparent explanation, and he saw everything vanish. It appeared that there prevailed a hidden power harming his conscious efforts. Murphy taught Roberto personally for consecutive periods, sharing with him an essential truth that would be central in his complete doctrine. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between wealth you achieved and wealth your ancestors believed to be worthy. If inside you there is the pattern that wealth is threatening, that evolving economically is dangerous, that financial security is illusory or misleading, then your subconscious mind will strive constantly to keep you in this frequency because it appears to be the real fact. The deep mind does not question. It just fulfills the codes that were programmed in your being through family living. Roberto at last comprehended that he was not slothful or incapable. He was formatted, and mental patterns can be deconditioned. Murphy revealed that when you alter the dominant vibrational pattern in your consciousness, you transform the programming that you send to your hidden psyche. It is like reworking a device that was working with antiquated software, which is problematic. If the application is configured to receive solely a determined sum of resources, then that is exactly what you will receive, regardless of how much you work. Murphy attested this truth by means of deep visualization techniques that he had developed over years. He oriented his patients to expend about 5 to 10 minutes each morning, ideally at the moment of waking when the psyche is situated in a receptive alpha state, imagining not only the arrival of money in their existence, but primarily the deep feeling of security, authentic confidence and worthiness that is associated with this manifestation. Murphy proclaimed without any doubt that this sensation represented the essential key. It was not the capital isolated that mattered for the evolution. It constituted the frequency that the being managed regarding wealth. With Roberto, Murphy set in motion a process that he termed ancestral vibrational transmutation, a method that he had consolidated through countless successful cases. Roberto would need to, for 8 weeks, spend a quarter of an hour each night before sleep in a state of deep meditation. In this meditative state, Roberto should perceive consciously the complete financial history of his ancestors. He should mentally evoke his direct forebear facing the economic collapse, his parent facing failed businesses, and all this ancestral lineage who preceded him taking like patterns. Then on the mental plane, Roberto should enunciate with authentic emotion, "I accept the story of you all. I tribute with admiration the sacrifice you made. I recognize the importance of the path you walked, and the obstacles you overcame. Yet at this moment, in this sacred space, I liberate this resonance of scarcity from my mind. I establish a new vibration for our lineage. From this moment on in my life, movement of wealth, opulence and financial certainty constitute the main vibration that governs my trajectory and my world. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy created a concept that he called Law of Vibrational Correspondence, a principle that he had verified in multiple cases. This truth states simply that the external world always responds perfectly to the dominant internal world. If inside you there exists with intense fear of lack of resources, then the surrounding environment will present constantly events that amplify this dread and sustain your limiting thought. If in your interior you resonate true faith in your natural abundance, then the external circumstances will reveal opportunities that expand and amplify this faith. The most revolutionary aspect of this principle is that it performs regardless of your current situation or your antecedents. A person completely indebted who reorients their vibrational state to prosperity will give start, in a few weeks, to observe modest changes that are apparent. These transformations are always subtle at the beginning, but are signs of a deep transformation. An unforeseen cost is bypassed inasmuch as you choose to not make an automatic purchase. An opening emerges because you lived in better mental disposition to talk with a significant person. Your total organism begins to vibrate in a new pattern. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To establish this vibrational change that was lasting and radical, Murphy created a system organized in 3 steps that he viewed as totally necessary for success. The first moment is what Murphy called conscious ancestral recognition, and he reiterated that it was impossible to move forward without completing truly this initial stage. In this pass, you need to expend time sincerely recognizing the complete financial trajectory of your ancestors. This does not signify holding responsible your forebears or rejecting them with negative energy. It implies merely perceiving with absolute clarity what they faced, the deep traumas that they endured, the structures that they developed as a system of resistance in challenging periods. Murphy noted that many people sought to pretend this uncomfortable history, tried to pretend it was not real, and this prevented totally the true transformation. It is completely impossible to become free from what you reject consciously to see. Murphy oriented his clients to initiate this simple exercise, which is transforming. At night, preferably at bedtime, when consciousness stays more permeable, position yourself in absolute silence. Do breaths deeply for some moments, and mentally meditate deeply on your family. Evoke mentally the figures of those who came before, admit the obstacles that they faced, pronounce internally with authenticity a statement like, "I identify that you, the one who begot me, faced devastating losses that created deep dread in your mind. I welcome that you, the one who begot me, established preservation tools that were shared successively from generation to generation." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet and becomes something you see with absolute clarity and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy elucidated that this confession operates because it establishes a new power in your essence. You do not remain rejecting your ancestors or your past. You find yourself solely realizing your inalienable right as a thinking being who is autonomous to choose a different vibration. Murphy had identified multiple cases, validated, where this proclamation, when realized with genuine emotional sincerity, engendered a vibrational rupture so strong and deep that observable transformations emerged in subsequent days. He had compiled examples where clients communicated intense dreams and exceptional dreams moments after the declaration. Dreams where those who came before showed themselves to confirm this transformation with quiet approval and energetic consent. Despite the fact that Murphy presented himself as a scientific man who was precise in his general method, he recognized that there prevailed phenomena that surpassed purely material logic and analytical logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he maintained this vibrant vision and lived, Murphy instructed with conviction, "Say in your mind with absolute conviction, 'My preponderant frequency now is conscious fullness. My body resonates completely with monetary solidity. My deep being remains fully reconditioned to welcome with generosity, to conquer integrally, and to preserve continuously abundance.'" My resonance finds itself aligned perfectly with opportunity, unlimited flow, and endless development. The scarcity that was bequeathed extinguished itself entirely eternally. The prosperity that represents my original divine heritage installs itself now as the permanent situation of my living. Murphy stated unequivocally that these affirmations must be expressed not robotically by habit or in a shallow way, but with genuine deep emotion, with authenticity that surges from the core, as if you found yourself declaring the most important truth and fundamental of your complete life. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage, the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy recommended that this final phase be practiced constantly day after day, absolutely without pauses, for a minimum of 40 days successive. He had designated the period of 40 days, for he had identified in multiple cases that it was specifically the necessary period for a new vibrational pattern to consolidate itself integrally as the preponderant frequency in the core of the subconscious mind. The first 14 days relate to rooting and fixation of the new vibration. The new vibration still demonstrates itself as delicate and transitory. It still fights aggressively with the old vibrations that fight to continue. During days 15 until 28, something fundamentally changes and unlocks itself. The new vibrational pattern starts gradually to gain authentic vigor, to perceive more legitimate and genuine, more fundamental to your deep being. Between days 29 and 40, the new vibrational pattern finally firms itself as the dominant pattern that governs your choices. Ended 40 days of permanent realization and heartfelt practice, Murphy stated that his clients told an emotional alteration so deep that it was perceptible even to outside spectators. The terror that stagnates regarding money dwindled deeply until extinguishing itself. The emotional weight of growing financially and obtaining dissolved itself integrally. A peace which was serene, genuine, and unshakable in the economic destiny initiated to sprout naturally from your interior. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly. An unexpected expense that was providentially avoided. A casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy emphasized a fundamental point that countless despised absolutely in their fulfillment. In this interval of 40 days of disciplined practice, the tangible behaviors equally possess fundamental weight. The vibrational pattern creates the solid base. However, you still necessitate to have the valor to proceed. If a chance appears along your journey, you have to to possess the courage to take advantage of it honestly. If a conception appears about how to increase your income or to multiply your inputs, you have to be willing in putting it into practice with conviction. Murphy termed this aligned action, and it showed itself fundamentally vital. It constitutes the movement that emerges fluidly as your vibration has altered to abundance. This action remains being radically distinct from the desperate action grounded in fear. It is conduct that is firm, clear, instinctive, and precise. Murphy identified that as his clients kept the appropriate frequency and behaved regularly in alignment with this frequency, the opportunities unfolded in manners that in the past appeared completely impractical or almost miraculous. The course that Murphy made available was fundamentally a path of true emancipation and radical. It did not form escape from true obstacles. It represented facing the tangible reality that you were programmed by ancestral inherited vibration and choosing with full consciousness and with power to modify this resonance completely. It constituted understanding that you shelter extraordinary strength not merely to alter your own living, but to transform the entire journey and future horizon of all your lineage. This knowledge constitutes genuine power in its most essential meaning. Not the power just to dominate or to defeat opponents, nevertheless the genuine power to transcend, to transmute vibrational pattern, to transcend old limitations. This teaching, Murphy professed with unbreakable conviction, constitutes the real liberation which is material and divine that every conscious creature pursues.